All right, the watch list for July 28th, which would be a Thursday. The SPY still in this range, right? Even after FOMC day, looking at it, you see a little extra volume, but just straight in this range. Just consolidating its recent gains. Whenever you have a move like this, generally you're going to get a pullback, or you're going to get, it's going to resolve itself through time, just in a sideways motion. As always, I would remind you, anything can happen, right? Famous Mark Douglas quote, words to live by if you're a trader. So, anything can happen. Doesn't matter what the chart looks like. You always still got to be careful. All right, so here's the list going into Thursday here. UIS, which actually Wayne called today. He got us in at 976, so somewhere right in here. And it made a nice move to 1040 without stopping out on a pretty tight stop, 20 cents below. Nice call by Wayne. This could be multi-day, but I'm just going to put back on watch tomorrow. As you know, if you watch my videos, I don't hold anything overnight until I'm in cash every night. So I log in every day with a list like this, plus some gappers that we find looking to make money that trading day. All right, so these are all just hopefully give me a setup tomorrow to make some money. If they don't give me a setup, I don't take them. OPGN. Nothing really today. Just straight down. It kind of had that one of those days of indecision, where it ends up closing where it opened. So it just goes back on watch tomorrow, just for a potential bounce. And again, these are born out of, like in this case, over 20 million shares. A little over a week ago, about a week ago, 20 million shares. So it's worked its way back down. It's a pretty good bounce play setup. ZAIS, just a narrow green day today, no action in it at all. But once the first hour or two is over, especially on FOMC day, to me trading's done, and really that's for most days anyway. But the fact that it held up and didn't make any big move one way or another, makes me interested in it tomorrow. It still to me makes these beautiful intraday squeezes, as you can see here, here, and here, and now we're 4 days lower, back down to the moving averages. So. Maybe things will cut loose again on Thursday. DRAM, very nice relative strength today. Did go up and hit the 200-day and failed there, but great volume for this stock. You had a nice pop back here, so I always look for that on the chart, see if it has made any kind of recent relative big moves, right? And then it goes on watch. So this it ended up closing 219 when it went up to 243. So gave a little bit of it back, but that's okay. It still goes on watch tomorrow for a potential follow-through day, maybe a red to green, something like that. EBIO. Again, this one feels extended because it's it's away from moving averages, but today's candle was inside of yesterday's big candle, and it held up really really well. So that one just goes back on watch. I never teach people to chase. I don't chase myself, and even a stock that looks like this already feels like chasing just watching it tomorrow. But the beauty of it is we have control over whether or not we take an entry. And I'll only do that if I see the proper intraday setup and if I feel like hey, buyers are still in charge here, right? It could be worth a shot with the proper setup. So keep that in mind. OPTT is simply on watch because of this crazy move, right? Had a nice trade in it yesterday too. Today, it never gave me any kind of an entry, and it was just a quiet day. But I can't, this kind of a move, I can't take this off my radar yet. So it stays on my radar. It's not like I see a great chart set up there. That is as simple as a recent low floater that was going crazy should be on a chart. Okay, that's as simple as that setup is. CCCL, really nice move here. Couple days lower, just goes on bounce watch. KOOL, you had this crazy move here all the way up to almost 7 and a lower volume pullback today. This one, pretty good setup as far as, on the daily. I really wanted this one to come in, and now tomorrow it's set up pretty well. I mean, we've seen a lot of secondary and tertiary bounces and so on in OPTT and some other stocks. And this is another example of one that, shorts got their butts handed to them for most of the day yesterday. All right. And so now today they're going to gain some confidence again. Sometimes we'll get a third day play and a move higher again. So that one definitely on my radar. CALI, not in love with this one. But you had this big pop yesterday, and then today just came back in on lower volume. I don't really like the chart, but goes on watch. ALIM, really nice pop inside day on lower volume, red day. This one might be a third day play, so it goes on watch. My watch list is actually bigger than I'm comfortable with. SPU, this thing was 21 bucks ish, a little over 3 sessions ago, right? And then just off a cliff here. This is one, again, that could turn up violently. I'd actually rather see a gap down tomorrow and then look for a red to green or something. But, who knows? it definitely want to go on. I definitely want to put that one on watch. It makes crazy moves. GBR, had this. Speaking of low float crazy moves, this thing went from $2 to 610. All right, now it's back to 307. Definitely goes on bounce. Watch for tomorrow for a turn back up. BSPM, big spike. All right, and then it's kind of coiling. It's kind of, you can picture a tightening formation here. 3 sessions ago, it had a nice volume spike and a pretty big move. Now you've got a lower high, inside day. So this one's tightening. Over 466 would be a break of Wednesday's high. So I'm actually going to put in my notes 467. And that's a potential catalyst is all that is. It doesn't mean if it opens at 467, I get long. Okay, I still want to watch the overall market. I want to watch how this thing's trading. I want to watch the volume and so on. So, don't email me tomorrow and say, hey, it hit 467 and failed. That's just a number I put in my notes so I know that would be a break of Wednesday's high, and that is a potential catalyst for a higher move. Hopefully everybody understands that. NFEC, some crazy spikes here. I love crazy spikes. And then today, it's just one of those candles where it closed about where it opened. But just the fact that on an intraday basis, this went from 78 cents to 219, okay? And then on an intraday basis, it went from 82 cents to $1.60. That tells me this thing can really move. So, and it didn't even take much volume to do that. And it's got like 3 million shares in the float. So this one's got pretty good potential for a rip tomorrow. And again, only with a proper intraday setup. And then lastly, EXAS, huge volume pop yesterday. Nice inside day today, closing near its highs. So this one's a pretty good setup. I like it over 1690, which will be a break of today's high. And the same comments apply that I just gave you on that other one. All right, that's not a number that I live and die by, but it's a reference point on the chart that might yield further upside. Another thing you can do, if you want to just allocate one chart to it, you can just take a line instead of having to write down the price. You can take a line and put it right there at that high. All right, actually, if I go to 5 minutes, yeah, so you can see that way when you're trading tomorrow and you have this on an intraday chart, you see it break through that line, you'll know that that's a break of today's high, and you've got a catalyst above, which will be a break of the big volume breakout day's high, and that could have significant upside after that. So it's a pretty good chart setup. All right, we're going to add gappers as a group collectively tomorrow. Hopefully we can find a nice gapper as well. Real quick example today, and I did something rare today that I don't usually do. I called a pre-market idea, and I think it was $1.72. You can't even see it on the chart because this is after the open. I nibbled some in pre-market. I think it was around $1.72. And so when this thing opened, I was just selling into this spike. So it started off my day a few minutes in, like up $700 or something like that. I don't usually do that, but there's an example of something that we find in the pre-market that looks good, and generally I don't get involved in the pre-market, but I did today and it worked out nicely. So that's something else we do in the chat room. We build a list, if you will, of pre-market gappers, and then look at all the parameters involved, and sometimes we find one that we really like, and MDGS fit the parameters this morning. All right, I'm done babbling, guys. Have a great night. Talk to you tomorrow.